Welcome back to Keep Betting, the YouTube channel that talks about sports betting on a near daily basis. We've struggled with that sentence in particular, but we're back. We have a new studio. As you can see, and I'm going to talk about it in a second, but with college basketball right around the corner, what a better time. There is no better time than to get back to this. What I enjoy doing on a daily basis is talking about sports by myself in a room. Yeah, so today's video is going to be the sleepers. Every year for probably the last 3 years since I've been on this social media, I've had some sort of really large underdog to win it all. And they've usually done pretty well or recovered a lot of value at least. And so that's what today's going to be. It's going to be the 3 teams to watch out. I'm not particularly going to take anything today, but futures that I see value in at the current moment. And just talk about basketball. Basketball starts back in... today's Friday, so it starts on Tuesday, so we're getting there. There's going to be videos every day, probably 2 today, heading into college basketball, and then breaking down slates on a daily basis. So if that's something you are interested in watching, be sure to subscribe, like this video to make sure to let me know that this is something you are enjoying. Before we get in, I'm going to talk about this office because I absolutely love this thing. So if you are familiar with my work at all, you know, last year, probably the last 3 years, we've bet on Wright State a significant amount in college basketball in the first half. They were just an absolute animal at covering the first half. So this jersey is actually a signed jersey by Loudon Love, who I believe is their all-time leading scorer. I could be wrong there, but it's something close to that. He signed, and he said, Wright State first half team total under 40, pound it. Wright State's always a safe bet. So that's a pretty cool little add to the office. I have some Sports Illustrated posters, my degree in the middle, and then on this side, a funny story. I actually might put a clip up. I'm going to try. We'll see. So this Tulsa jersey, it's number 14. It's for Davis Brin, who's actually number 7. We bet on Tulsa -5 versus Tulane last year. Starting quarterback goes out with COVID right before the game. Second string comes in, gets hurt, I believe he got hurt. And so Davis Brin comes in. Third string quarterback probably was eating chocolate chip cookies the night before. Didn't think he was going to be playing in this game. Comes in and throws some absolute darts to make them come back. I think they were down 14-0, came back and won. He sent them to overtime with a Hail Mary and then pick 6 in double overtime to win it. Just a crazy story. So I reached out to Davis, asked him if he'd sign a jersey for me. He did. And then for anybody who knows my gambling fascination with roulette, I've got a roulette wheel. So that's always a fun ad. But yeah, that is the office. And so enough of that. Let's get right into college basketball. Headed down to our first look, which is Notre Dame plus 15,000. So I'm going to go to 3-man weaves breakdown of Notre Dame. They have them 8th in the ACC, which is quite interesting. I think Notre Dame is probably the 3rd, 4th, 5th best team in the ACC, and so there's value in this team. For one big reason being Paul Atkinson. If you know me, if you know what I bet, I used to love betting on Yale. They're just a fundamental team. And look at the size on this team. 6'10", 6'10", 6'5", 6'6", 6'3". Every single player is a double-digit scorer. They all crash the boards. They all pass the basketball. You just have a really talented, really big lineup. All can score, all make plays, all understand the fundamentals of basketball. Their bench, 6'9", 6'5". You got seniors coming off the bench. They just have a team that I believe is set up to be fairly good overall. Their worry always, just with the style that they play, is defense. But Paul Atkinson brings a coach onto the court, and so I think that won't be as big of a struggle. That's what 3-man weave talks all the way through here. About how bad their defense is. But I think Atkinson was a really big pickup. Let's see if we can watch this video. Oh, really bad. But Atkinson is just absolutely dirty. So I think he was a good ad, and Notre Dame will be a good team. Overall this year, I don't know if I'm going to pick up any futures at 15,000, but it's interesting to note. I hope that they get priced as a team that is this bad early in the season, and we can bet on them early. The next one that catches my eye is in the 20,000 range with a team that I think might be my sleeper this year. I haven't completely decided. Mississippi State was a good team, but where it comes in is transfers. So they add Rocket Watts. If you know anything about Michigan State and my ties with Michigan State, I love Rocket Watts. I think that he was undervalued, underused at Michigan State. I think he's a really good defender. He understands basketball, and he creates space for everybody else. And so I think that was a really good ad. DJ Jeffries, 6'7", scoring basically double digits, comes from Memphis, another good player to add. Garrison Brooks, this is the big one for me. I bet on North Carolina a ton last year because of Brooks, and he kind of underperformed. It's not really much of a surprise. Everybody at North Carolina underperformed. But if you watch these games, Brooks knows how to get his own shot, a little short mid-range jumper, average 10 a game, 7 rebounds. He crashes the boards. He's a big body and tough to deal with. And I think this is a really good ad overall for Mississippi State. Adding right next to the big man himself, averaging, almost 13 a game, 8 rebounds. And then just go through the bench. I mean, they have depth at the bench, some big bodies. And I just think that Mississippi State being ranked 8th in the SEC currently by 3-man weave, it's a bit of a joke. Just looking up at preseason predictions, I think Kentucky obviously beats Mississippi State. Alabama, I think, struggles with them. I'm not high on Alabama, which makes this a little bit easier. Tennessee has a talent to beat Mississippi State, so I would say these two. Alabama, I mean, I think it would be a lot closer game than you think. I think Mississippi State can handle any Tier 2 team, and they're put first in Tier 3. So I would say Mississippi State more near the 4, possibly 3 range of the SEC. I'm going to go with 4. I'll give Alabama the benefit of the doubt. They have a good coach, so I'm not going to say that Mississippi State is going to beat Alabama throughout the entire season, but I think there are a lot better odds than you think right here. Going back, we have another 20,000 team in Nevada. Nevada will be probably one that I don't touch, but I wanted to bring up as they have a really good team. But the unfortunate part is the Mountain West is really good this year. So they are ranked 3rd in the Mountain West behind San Diego State, Colorado State. And I think this is probably right, to be honest. And that's where this is kind of weird. But I'll show you why I'm going to include this team. So they bring back basically everybody. They have a 7-footer. They bring Brahma from Robert Morris, and if you watch Robert Morris at all, if you understood their run last year, you know that he was the piece of that team. He can get his own buckets. He is a high rebounding guy, and to have a 7-footer and him down low with 2 guards who can get their own points, and just a team like 6 rebounds a game, 2 point guards can facilitate. They can get their own points, and they have starters from like. Blackshear was a starter at most schools. For him not to start and be a big potential off the bench. Will Baker, the 7-footer from Texas, I think they are really loaded down to be in a conference like the Mountain West. Unfortunate for them, San Diego State and Colorado State both have a really good team this year. But where this becomes value to me and why I wanted to bring it up is in a day-to-day betting perspective. So if you go to Bart Torvik, I believe that Nevada is 64th. Interesting that Mississippi State is 60th. I don't understand that. So we'll talk about basically both of them at the same time. Nevada, are you taking Loyola Marymount over Nevada? No. Are you taking Syracuse? I struggle to say yes there, but I can see where some would. UAB, no. Drake, it would be close. I'm still taking Nevada. There's too many teams priced over this team right now that I think that it's worth noting that they are a very good basketball team. And though they're going to be 3rd in their conference potentially, and Boise State right on their tail for 4th, it's not because they're not good. It's because their conference is so much improved from what they have been. So I think Nevada is a team to note. I think they'll have a really good year going into their schedule. It looks like maybe you'll be able to bet on them versus Santa Clara on the road on the 16th. Bart Torvik has this as a 3-point game, and I would not at all agree with that. Just knowing who plays for Santa Clara, who plays for Nevada, obviously situationally, like something might happen, somebody might get hurt. But as of now, it looks like there's going to be many of times that you can bet on them versus North Texas. They have this as a 1-point spread. Washington, interesting, as a 1-point spread. George Mason, South Dakota State. There's a lot of games that they have as close games that I just don't imagine are going to be close games. So I'll be keeping Nevada on my list of value. And so I'll be interested to see where they end. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. We're going to keep these short and sweet, try to make these videos, I say short and sweet, it's been 15 minutes. Future videos will be shorter. I showed you all the stuff in the background from this. And so I plan on making videos on a near daily basis of things that I feel like can bring you direct impact to becoming a better sports bettor and going over basketball or football slates on a near daily basis. So if that's something you want to see, be sure to subscribe. And I will believe I'll have another video. As of today, when this video is posted, there will be a video tonight as well. So make sure you check that out. Show some love, makes it a lot easier to keep making these on a daily basis, and hope this helps, and let's make some money.